As I told you, basically the radar is either CW type or pulse type or FMCW. Right, no more radar is available. Based on the applications, we call it as this is SAR radar, ISAR radar. Of course, the signal processing will be slightly different. That is appropriate to the specific application. So, module 3, that is a FMCW radar. FMCW radar, right. Dear students, we have already seen about the CW radar and its signal processing, how to construct the radar, right? How to measure the Doppler, right? What is baseband filter? What is a mixer, right? So these things we have seen in the first module. Then second module, we started about the pulsed radar and how do we get the pulsed radar and what are the methods to modulate the pulse, power amplifier, circulator, TR switches, single antenna, range measurement, Doppler measurement. So all those things associated to the CW radar and pulse radar designs at RF level and their associated signal processing have been seen already. So now we are equipped by knowledge with the CW radar and pulse radar operations, both RF side as well as the signal processing side. And in our earlier discussions, we came to know the CW radar is an excellent radar for instantaneous Doppler measurement. That is particularly velocity measurement, right? But whereas in our pulsed radar is excellent for both, but we needed to do some additional computations for getting the Doppler. Whereas the range straight away can be measured just by measuring the time delay of our echo signal. We can straight away measure the range using the turnaround time of the particular echo or series of echoes. Whereas a Doppler estimation or velocity estimation, one should do some additional computations in order to get it, because a little portion of the Doppler signal is available only for every PRT because of the observation time is less, right? So we can conclude in this way, CW radar is very good for Doppler, whereas the pulsed radar is very good for range measurement, right? And then in the pulsed radar, since the energy of the echo is available only for a very short period, typically in the order of micro or nanosecond, we needed to go for different methods to improve the signal to noise ratio. So we have seen two methods, right? Integrations, pulse integrations or matched filtering, right? So matched filtering is everywhere there to improve the signal to noise ratio. But since if there is no any pulse, then there is no any pulse integrations. Now the idea is why we cannot combine the advantage of these two radars in one radar, right? So that we can get the advantage of excellent Doppler estimation, also the excellent range estimation, right? So that radar is called FMCW radar. The FMCW radar consists of advantages of both radars. That is, it covers advantages of both CW and pulsed radars. Pulsed radars. What is the advantage? CW radar means Doppler estimation. Doppler means velocity. Whereas pulse radar means turn around time estimation, means range. Because in CW radar we cannot measure the time, right? And in pulse radar we can measure the Doppler with some additional computations. So we are going to make use of these two advantages of two different radars, and that radar is called FMCW radar. FMCW radar, right? So FMCW radar is equal to CW radar plus one pulse radar. Straight away we can take FMCW radar, frequency modulated continuous wave radar, is equal to one CW radar plus one pulse radar. Combination of these two is the CW radar. And the radar So far what we have seen is unmodulated. Means that means we have seen two radars. One is the CW radar and another one is the pulsar radar. Right. The CW radar is a completely unmodulated radar. Unmodulated radar. And pulsar radar is called as a amplitude modulated radar. Amplitude modulated radar. Amplitude modulated radar. Right. It is something like ASK, amplitude shift keying. Amplitude shift keying. It is something like that. There will be one small pulse, then no pulse, again small pulse. So during this period, the signal will be allowed. Right. During this period, signal will not be allowed. Transmitter concerned. And since you are enabling and disabling your receiver chain, so we call it as this time is the receiver time or reception time, listening time, and this is what we call as the transmission time. But modulation point of view concerned, this is your active period, this is the passive period. So during the active time, you are pumping some RF energy out, and during the listening time, your transmitter is switched off. Your transmitter is switched off means you can take it as 1 0 0 0 1 0 0 and so on. If you look this one from the communication point of view, right? So that is why people are using radar also for communication. So radar for communication is coming up. That is also one hot topic nowadays, right? People started working radar for communication as well. Means two radars or two targets will talk each other. I mean, one radar and target, a radar and another radar will talk each other. Also measures the range, coordinated, Doppler, everything, right? So radar for communication as well. Okay, so in pulse radar we have seen the amplitude modulations. Then the next question is why do we not go for frequency modulation, and why we should not move for phase modulation, right? What will happen if you do phase modulation, if you do frequency modulation, do we get any advantage over the modulations or over applying these techniques now? So whenever we use the phase modulation, that what we called as a in general pulse compression. This is what we called as pulse compression. Pulse compression. Whenever you use the frequency modulation, we call it as a FM frequency modulation, then that is a frequency modulated CW radar. In fact, this is also one kind of pulse compression. One kind of pulse compression. We will see what is pulse compression, why that name is assigned to this technique, pulse compression, all those things we will see now. The idea is instead of doing only the amplitude modulation and call it as pulsed radar, we try to do the frequency modulation, we try to do the phase modulation, then do we get any advantages? Yes, there are a lot of advantages now, right? What are they? In order to understand the advantages of these FMCW radar or pulse radar, I mean pulse compressions, that is your phase modulated radar, we need to get the full idea about the construction of FMCW radar, how the FMCW radar can be constructed. Then we go in depth. For constructing one FMCW radar, we need to have this RF assembly. No much difference in the signal processing. It is almost simple and straightforward, but we needed to get the fundamentals very clearly so that you can apply for this kind of designs, right? Please listen me very carefully. Don't passively sit here. If you listen, if you any doubt, please ask me, because you should clearly get me. Otherwise, you cannot design, right? I mean, you cannot understand and then answer for some questions if you do not capture the idea very clearly. Any doubt, please ask me. Right. All of you take down this schematic diagram. This is the FMCW radar. Please listen. There is one VCO. This is nothing but our RF signal generator. This is nothing but our RF signal generator. RF signal generator, right? VCO we are using just for the laboratory purpose, but for real field we should have the very stable stereo source, stable oscillator, RF signal generator. Now this input is coming from the FPGA. This input what we call V-tune. What we call V-tune. The V-tune is the very, very essential in the FMCW radar. This is very important. The V-tune is the very much essential for the radar, FMCW radar, right? But whereas in the pulse radar, the V-tune is always pulse, means it will be on for some time, then off for longer time, again on, again off. But whereas in V-tune, in the FMCW radar, the V-tune is not the pulse, it is the ramp signal. It is the ramp signal, means it will go from 1 voltage to 5 voltage, or 0 to 5 voltage, or 0 to 2 voltage, 0 to any voltage that is suitable for this VCO, right? Since you can generate anything from this FPGA, in fact, you can take one DAC here, digital to analog converter, right? So this is coming from the FPGA. The FPGA gives you maybe some M number of bits. The length of this bus is M. So M number of binary bits with binary bits will be applied into DAC. DAC converts that binary input into analog signal, and then that analog signal is applied into VC. So this is nothing but typically DC voltage, time varying DC voltage, time varying DC signal, time varying DC signal, right? It will be something like this. For example, 0 to 5 voltage, it is something like this, right? So look here, this is a time and this is X of t voltage, right? So this is 0 voltage and this is a 5 voltage now. This is 5 voltage. So this is the ramp signal. So this ramp signal can be generated by any way, that means with the different slopes if you need from the FPGA, because it is the matter of sending only the binary signal, into the digital to analog converter, so that the DAC will be converting the digital input into the analog signal. For example, suppose this is one way of generating this 0 to 5 voltage ramp signal, or else you can generate something like this also. This is also 0 to 5 voltage only, right? Or else you can generate something like this also. But here the slope value is very low, but here the slope value is very high now. That means the time required to, here this is the time, here this is the time now. So here you need a longer time to reach the 5 voltage, whereas here you need a shorter time, and here also the reduced time now. So the idea is FPGA can decide by the architecture, by developing the suitable architecture, what should be the T to take the amplitude from 0 to 5 voltage. Because the 0 to 5 voltage is the tuning voltage, tuning control signal to the VCO. So the VCO also will oscillate the signal, right? Will oscillate the signal from this time to this time. That means every TP time, then the VCO will tune its voltage, right? So it is something like that. Suppose I'm generating one tune signal from the FPGA, something like that, then bringing it to 0, again you take, then you bringing it to 0, again you take up, bring to 0. See, this profile is keep continuing. This profile is keep continuing. That means your V tune is modulated from 0 to 5 voltage. Its amplitude is increased linearly from 0 to 5 voltage for every TP period. So the FPGA or the signal processing unit takes a TP amount of time to reach the 5 voltage from 0 voltage. Again bring it to 0, again 5 voltage, bring it to 0, again 5 voltage, bring it to 0. This trend is keep continuing. So you can decide whether you should have longer TP or shorter TP. That is up to us. Or else you want repeating the tune signal for every 3 voltage or 5 voltage or 2 voltage, also up to us. For example, you can start repeating something like this also. So instead of going to 5 voltage, you go to the 4 voltage or 3 voltage, then you stop continuing here. Again 3 voltage, come down, again 3 voltage, bring it down, again 3 voltage, bring it down. So the amplitude X of t and the time required for completing one cycle, right, or completing the 0 to the peak voltage in the V tune is left to the designer. That is completely depends upon our architecture that we build inside the FPGA now. So by creating the architecture in the FPGA, you can create the binary pattern that increases from 0 to 5 voltage and then again coming to 0 and going to 5 voltage now. This you can do it by simple counter. For example, suppose this is 8-bit DAC. Our M is equal to 8-bit. M is equal to 8-bit. 8-bit digital to analog converter. So you can vary from 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. That is equal 0, 0, H to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That is equal to F of H. This is binary. This is in a base 16 form, hexadecimal form. You listen. So your value, this 8-bit value can vary from 0, 0, H into F of H now. If you linearly increase the value 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, 1, 1, F0, F2, FA, FB, FC, FF, then obviously since you are linearly increasing the binary value, so every digit, every LSB is incremented every time, every clock. So this value is going from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That means from 0 to 255, it is linearly increasing. Therefore, the binary value that is going into DAC also is getting linearly increased from 0 to 255. Therefore, the output of the digital to analog converter also will linearly increase from 0 to 5 voltage now. 0 to 5 voltage. Though you can put it on counter. You make an 8-bit counter, you apply your clock input into the counter. So counter equal to counter plus 1. So all the clock, the counter will be incremented by only one value. By only one value. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 255 to 254. I mean 254 to 255. So once the 255 reached, I mean that means everything is reached here back to the maximum value of 11111. Then the next value is obviously 000. That what we call the counter overflow. Automatically your counter will come down to 00. For example, if you go 2-bit counter, you can count 00, 01, 10, 11. Then further if you increment this 11 by 1, then automatically your counter will go back to this 00 because the counter is allotted only for 2 bits for its counting. Therefore, more than 2 bits it cannot counter. 100 is not possible. So obviously it will go into the 00. It reset hota hai. So therefore, if you increment the counter from 000000 to 1111, then further you can just keep incrementing the counter. Automatically the counter will go to 00 now. So it goes to from 0 to 255 and then comes down to 0. Again it goes to 255, then comes down to 0, and this pattern is keep repeating from the FPGA, from the signal processing unit. So since we are only generating the V-tune signal, we know what is the TP and we know what is the band, I mean slope value. So this is the slope value. For example, this is your slope S, right? And this another slope, maybe you call it as this is S2 and this is S3. But whereas if this is S1, then your S3 is greater than S2, greater than S1 now. That means the third ramp, I mean this increment has very high amount of slope. The second one is the medium slope and the first one is the very lower amount of slope. So S3 greater than S2 greater than S1 now, greater than S1. So what is the slope we are operating the ramp signal and what is the time required for its repetition is known to the signal processing unit because we are only deciding these two parameters. So this is the way how we increment the binary value to the digital to analog converter. Then the DAC will obviously convert that binary value into the equivalent analog out, equivalent analog out. For example, suppose this is the maximum voltage of this DAC is 5 voltage. DAC is 5 voltage now. So when the 5 voltage will come out, if it is a 00 HA, obviously you will be getting 0 voltage. When it is FF HA, obviously you will be getting 5 voltage now. So in between, you will be getting different voltage with respect to the binary weightage, binary weight values. For example, suppose 5 voltage is the maximum voltage that you are getting for 255. So 5 divided by 255 into 1 is equal to, you will be getting 19 point. What is this value? 19.52 or 32? That means your 0 to 5 voltage increment is divided by 255 levels now. So totally 256 levels actually, 0 to 255. So your analog output will be varying from 0 to 5 voltage. So with 256 different levels. So 256 lelo. So 5 divided by 256 is equal to what? Hello, all of you there or not? Kitna?
90.53
53 millivolt. 53
millivolt.
millivolt. 90.53 millivolt. So listen now, in the DAC, first if you feed 0, 0, 0, then your DAC will generate a 0 voltage. If you increment only one bit, 0, 1, that means 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, then your digital to analog converter will increment its voltage from 0 to 19.53 millivolt now. You see the resolution. So whenever you increase the binary weight at the input of the digital to analog converter, then DAC will also increment the corresponding analog voltage at its output. So that what we call the digital to analog converter. Then further, if you increment 0002 to 0010, then you will be getting 2 into 19.53 millivoltage now. So second level increment, third level increment, fourth level increment. So since we are incrementing this voltage continuously over the time, so there is the linear analog voltage variations in its output of the ADC now. So here also it is linearly going to 5 voltage now. Then again it will come down to 0. Again linearly it goes into the 5 voltage, then comes down into the 0 now. So this is the pattern we are generating from the FPGA. So the V tune that is applied into the VCO is a ramp signal. The ramp signal has a TP, means a pulse repetition time. And then the ramp signal has a slope. Two important parameters are there. One is here. What is the slope? What is the slope of the ramp signal you are generating? Two, what is the repetition time? TP. So these two is very much essential, and these two we are deciding at this level within the signal processing unit, or the signal processing algorithm knows that what is the slope you are operating your ramp signal, and what is the pulse repetition time or the ramp repetition time. That is a TP. We call it as a TP. Pulse repetition time, TP. So what is the TP and what is the slope we are operating at the input of the digital to analog converter, because the same thing is reflected in its analog output as well, which is applied into the VCO as the tune voltage. Okay, fine. Now we are going to tune the VCO now. In our earlier modulation, whereas in our pulse modulation, instead of such a V tune, we have generated the signal something like that, maybe 1 0 1 0. So whenever 0 is there, VCO made off, means it is pushed to the off condition. That means no output, no RF. Whereas when we applied 5 voltage, there is RF at one frequency. At one frequency, if it is 5 voltage, maybe some 6 gigahertz will come out. If it is 2.5 voltage, 3 gigahertz will come out. So depends upon this voltage, only one frequency was generated by the VCO. That means the VCO was made to oscillate only at one frequency, single tone frequency. So that excitation by one frequency is passed through all this transmitter chain that we have seen. Now the VCO is not at 0 or not at 1 voltage, right? If it is at 0, no output will come out. If it is continuously at 1 voltage, the corresponding single tone frequency will come out. So if it is 0, transmission is stopped. If it is at 1 voltage over the time, for example 5 voltage or 2.5 voltage, that what we call as a CW radar. If you make it as a V tune equal to 1.5 voltage, then the corresponding frequency of 2 gigahertz will come out. For example, 2 gigahertz depends upon the VCO and its bandwidth, the frequency will come out. But every VCO has the bandwidth. Every VCO requires the different tuning voltage now. So if you fix the tuning voltage at 1 voltage, VCO will definitely generate only the single tone RF signal. Means the RF signal will oscillate only at a single tone, at only one frequency. So all the time, because your V tune is fixed at 1 DC voltage all the time, therefore our VCO also will generate the RF signal at a single tone all the time. So that's what we call the CW radar. If you make your V tune to switch off and on in between two voltage levels, so off period is for longer period and the non period is for very shorter period. So that's what we call the pulse radar. With respect to the amplitude of the on pulse, the VCO will generate the RF signal. So by varying the amplitude of the on pulse, you can decide what is the frequency you want. But anyway, that time the VCO will oscillate only at single tone for a very short period. So that's what we call the pulse. But here the case is different. Here the voltage is not at 0 or the voltage is not at 1 voltage all the time. the voltage is keep increasing, keep varying. The voltage is going from 0 to high, then again comes down to 0, it goes high. It is going linearly. Understand now? So when such a profile is applied at the V tune of the VCO, obviously the VCO output also will be modulated now. The output of the VCO also is increasing its frequency over the time with respect to the slope and the TP period. For example, when such a signal is applied into the VCO, suppose we are applying the VCO something like this. Suppose we are applying something like this, for example, 0 to 5. I'm repeating again, 0 to 5. I'm repeating again, 0 to 5. I'm repeating again. So listen, so this is the TP period called pulse time. And it has some slope value, yes, maybe, yes, you call it as yes. So its slope is yes now. Now what happened, when 0 voltage is going into the VCO, VCO will obviously generate a 0 hertz, means no output. No output. But when 1 voltage is going, 2 voltage is going, obviously the VCO also will generate the frequency, so that the frequency also keep modulating. They keep increasing because you are increasing the tune voltage, so the frequency also will linearly increment. So the frequency increment will be something like this. Something like this. So here there are two scales now. I am taking the frequency scale this side, right? So x of t, no, mean this amplitude scale is here. X of t is the amplitude scale for the pulse, but whereas for the frequency, it is going from here to here. Understand? Then when the again 0 comes now, that fellow will come down. Again it goes now. So I'm taking this fellow here, this fellow here. Maybe, for example, if this is for 0 ke liye, maybe we will assume that this is 5 gigahertz and this is 6 gigahertz. Depends upon the VCO specifications. Depends upon the VCO specifications. So what does it mean now? Whenever that V tune is increasing, then the frequency also getting increased. Frequency also getting increased. That means if you plot here, see, we are applying here the V tune is something like this. It is going something like this. Therefore, the frequency here, so here time, here the y-axis is the frequency scale. In the frequency scale, the frequency also is going up and coming down now. Means your VCO generates a signal something like this. Something like this. Means this is your, if you take here time axis, your frequency is increasing every cycle. You look here now, so frequency is increasing, no change in the amplitude. So every cycle frequency increment is there. So if every cycle there is a increment in the frequency, that what we called a linear frequency modulation. Linear frequency modulation, linear FM. So such FMCW radar is called a LFMCW radar, linear frequency modulated CW radar. Linear frequency modulated CW radar. Very popular radar because you can get the advantage of two things. One is the range estimation and Doppler estimation. Not only these two advantages, you can operate this radar with low power for longer range coverage, like the way how we operated the CW radar. Since there is a continuous transmission, we no need to pump the high power here, and you no need to worry about the pulse width here, no need to worry about the switching time here. So pulse width can be extended, can be increased. Now wide pulse width can be used because we are going to modulate the beam within the pulse. Understand? So something like that. So every cycle there is an increment in the frequency. So that what we call the linear FM, linear frequency modulation now. So after one pulse, again there is the low frequency, again increment. So again increment, frequency increment, again low frequency, increment, frequency increment. So the frequency is linearly increasing every TP time now. It is something like that. We have wide pulse width now. The pulse width is typically in the order of a millisecond. So therefore, in order to get the good resolution in the pulse radar, we have to narrow the pulse width. So whenever you are trying to narrow the pulse width, you are landing with a lot of troubles, lot of problems. But here, pulse width can be millisecond. Wider pulse width we are using, but within that pulse width, instead of transmitting only one frequency, we are transferring multiple frequencies or modulated frequencies. So linearly we are modulating the frequency. So look here now, here one for every cycle the frequency is increased. here one frequency, here one frequency, here one frequency, here one frequency. So the frequencies keep increasing. So if you take the spectrum, or if you plot it the frequency time axis, it is something like that. The frequency maybe for this one, maybe 5 gigahertz, and this one is 6 gigahertz. So it goes from 5 to gigahertz. Linearly it is increasing, then coming down. Linearly increasing, coming down, linearly increasing. So the frequency is increased linearly now. So because the B tune is linearly increased, therefore the frequency, the modulation also linearly increased. That means instead of keeping the single tone within the pulse, within the tau period or within the pulse time, we are going to keep the modulated beam now. That modulation is the frequency modulation here. That frequency modulation also linearly done here. Therefore, it is a linear frequency modulated CW radar, LFM CW radar, or in general LFM radar. In general, LFM radar now, right? So, therefore, what happened? So we are modulating the frequency and then we are transmitting. The modulation profile repeats every TP, repeats every TP. You can similar profile, you can similar profile. So if you reduce the TP, then signal processing circuit knows that TP is reduced. Accordingly, it internally adjusts every control on the signal processing path. If you increase it, then obviously it is known to the signal processing, because that origination means varying your tune is done by the signal processing unit. Therefore, it knows what is the value we are operating. Accordingly, every signal processing module will be tuned to those requirements, those specifications. So instead of FMCW, instead of linear modulation, we can go for different kind of modulations. We can go for stepped modulation. Why it should be only the linear modulation? Why not it should be the stepped modulation? It is something like this. Instead of linearly incrementing the V-tune voltage, we are incrementing it in a staircase. It is something like that. Then bring it down 0, or else you bring it slowly. Bring it slowly. So what happened now? If you plot the frequency scale, this is a time, this is frequency. So at 0, it is working at 5 gigahertz. Then again it is incremented to some value. So frequency also will go up, frequency also will go up, frequency also will go up, and then it will come to 0, or else it will come slowly to 0. Something like this, right? So this is what we called a staircase frequency modulated CW radar. Staircase frequency modulated CW. This is the frequency now. So you can generate the waveform whatever you want from the signal processing unit. The reason is this is from the FPGA. So you can create the architecture the way you want. You can create the triangular tune signal. You can generate the ramp signal. You can generate the staircase signal. Right? We can generate a 3-step staircase signal, or a stepped waveform, staircase waveform, ramp waveform, triangular waveform, double-sided stepped waveform, double-sided staircase waveform. So whatever we want to generate, we can generate from the FPGA for the V-tune. That will go to the VCO. VCO will tune the frequency with the same profile of your V-tune. No more changes now. If you increase the V-tune, obviously your frequency will go up. If you decrease the V-tune, obviously your frequency will come down. Frequency will come down now. So LFM, linear frequency modulation, stepped frequency modulation, staircase modulation, triangular modulation. These are all the different frequency modulation techniques. Different frequency modulation techniques being used in the FMCW radar. So in general, frequency modulation CW radar is called as a frequency modulated radar. Frequency modulated CW radar, correct? CW radar, where the modulation can be in different ways. Modulation can be in different ways, as we have seen, right? So now the V-tune will generate the modulated signal. That modulated signal goes into the source amplifier. The source amplifier bandwidth is sufficient enough to amplify only that VCO output. Remaining any other high frequency or any noises also is generated by VCO. Those things will be removed because the bandwidth of the source amplifier is very particular to the bandwidth of our modulation. modulation. So that modulated beam is filtered here by the source amplifier. Also gain is increased, then that is given into the power divider. Power divider divides the 50% here and 50% to the power amplifier. Power amplifier, you know what is the job of power amplifier? It increases the amplitude and then power level, and then it is passed into the TX antenna. Typically, you can take a horn antenna or patch array antenna, depends upon the wavelength of your interest. Now, the transmitting antenna transmits the LFM modulated signal. LFM modulated signal, right? But you look there, you look here now. Now, this signal transmits the modulated signal. That is very much important. Means the signal is not single tone. The signal is not single tone, or the signal is not discrete. The energy that is being transmitted by this TX antenna is continuous. Continuously it is transmitted. Continuous energy pumping is happening from the transmitting antenna. But only problem is the frequency, the signal frequency is not a single tone. It is a modulated frequency. It is something like that. So this will go, then this will go, this will go. Piche piche aa raha hai aisa. So you can plot something like that. Like this, again slow, again high. So in the same way, there is a continuous transmission. That transmission is radiated by the antenna, then that is falling on the target, then the return is also coming here. That return also will follow the same profile, that is also modulated, that goes into RX antenna, then RX antenna capture it, LNA, here mixer, down mixer. Down mixer. So down mixer we know, typically the mixer is, right? Mixer is just 1 minute. The mixer is nothing but just a time domain multiplication. Your LO signal and RF signal will be multiplied at the mixer. So that the mixer will give you two frequency. We have seen now, right? F1 plus F2 and F1 minus F2, F1 minus F2. And we are not interested in F1 plus F2. So this will be removed by this filter. This will be removed by this filter because that is the way how we are going to design the filter, right? The filter will allow only the baseband signal or IF signal. Here it is IF signal. Then plus amplifier. The amplifier amplifies the filter output. Then that goes into ADC. Now listen, we are interested only in F1 minus F2. F1 minus F2. Now listen, the F1 is not constant. The F2 is also not constant. Therefore, F1 minus F2 also not constant. That also will be modulated. That also will be modulated. Since F1 is the bandwidth, F1 has bandwidth and F2 also has bandwidth, because we have the bandwidth, since the frequency of the signal is incremented from one frequency into the another frequency, maybe from FL into FH we can take, this is FL and this is FH. So there is the bandwidth. That bandwidth is equal to FH minus FL, when this frequency minus this frequency. So whenever we increment the V tune of the VCO, then VCO output also modulated from low frequency into high frequency. Whenever we apply the upchirp, means upchirp means increasing ramp, or if you apply the downchirp, obviously the frequency will be decreasing at the VCO. However, either you are applying the upchirp or downchirp, no matter, there is a bandwidth. Either frequency will increase from FL to FH or FH to FL. So there is the bandwidth now, right? So that bandwidth is the matter here now. Understand? So what will happen, since F1 has bandwidth, F2 has bandwidth, F1 minus F2 also will have the bandwidth. Because after all, F2 will apply here after some phase delay. That's all, after some phase delay. So the F1 is the local reference signal and F2 is the received signal. So these two will be mixed together. So the F1 minus F2 also modulated signal. But this signal is at IF frequency. The signal is at IF frequency. IF frequency now. This signal will not be at the 0. It will be at the 0 at only one instant of time. You will see now, at an instant of time, the signal may be 0. Otherwise, the signal will never be 0. There is always frequency. Therefore, that frequency is the intermediate frequency. That is called IF signal, intermediate frequency. It is not a baseband frequency. Baseband will be there in the CW radar because of Doppler. But here, there will be the frequency, intermediate frequency, because of the phase delay. Because of the range and phase delay now. So the intermediate frequency will be there. That intermediate frequency is not at a single tone. The intermediate frequency also is the modulated frequency. Because F1 is modulated, F2 is modulated, therefore F1 minus F2 also modulated. F1 minus F2 also frequency modulated signal. So that goes into the filter, then it goes into the amplifier, then it goes into the ADC, then the ADC samples are locked into the signal processing unit. Locked into the signal processing unit. So what happened now in this design? Suppose I am transmitting the signal, something like that.